obviously SuperTruck 2 from Freightliner. It's like I've seen the articles all over. I'm on the Freightliner website, and like 12% reduction in tractor's aerodynamic drag, 12% reduction of tractor rolling resistance. They partnered up with, I believe it was Michelin for this. Where was the logo? Yeah, Michelin. So they partnered up with Michelin to make some super small rolling resistant tires. And then, of course, 5.7% reduction in fuel consumption and 50% more efficient AC system, right? And apparently it now uses a 48-volt electric system. So essentially you can run your AC and your heat off of the battery instead of idling your truck. So maybe they're eliminating the need for APUs or something. I'm not sure. But obviously this has been, it's been a pretty big thing because everyone's super impressed. Some of the comments I've seen is like, hold on. Well, first, no, before I go to the comments, I want to say at the bottom of the Freightliner at the Freightliner website, it says, a special thanks to the U.S. Department of Energy, which co-funded this program. Without them, there would be no Freightliner SuperTruck 2. And it's like, interesting. Okay, so it's like, if you're telling me blatantly in big letters that essentially the government is funding your like research to make a more efficient trucks, which I mean, granted, some of the stuff that they are doing is neat. Like they have like active aerodynamics. So it like closes off the gap between the truck and the trailer, which makes it more like whatever, fine, cool. But all this stuff is adding weight. All this stuff is adding complexity, maintenance, PTIs. And more than likely, the average guy buying a truck is not going to spec it out that way. Right. So I don't know, Flint, have you seen this truck obviously, because you mentioned last week on the pod, as an engineer, did you see this truck? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of, cool tech, right? I mean, and probably makes a difference. I'm not like an aerodynamic. I don't know that much about aerodynamics besides, right, you just want to reduce resistance. So that obviously probably makes sense to not have to idle and run your AC and heat from batteries. I mean, it's cool. It's good. Like, and of the things that our government is funding, seems to me to be a relatively a worthwhile project.
It's always refreshing when you hear something practical coming from the government.
Right, and that's their whole thing. It's like, this isn't some moonshot or some like super future out thing. This is the thing that we could actually do tomorrow, right? But some of the comments were a little bit funny. Is like essentially is like, oh, we're doing all of this work just to get 12 miles to the gallon on a truck, because that's what essentially that's what it's going to get about 12 miles to the gallon. It's like all of these things combined will only get it 12 miles to the gallon. And then a lot of people were asking like, why isn't this like a hybrid power plant? Like you got the 48-volt battery system. It's like, make the batteries a little bit bigger and make it a hybrid or something. Like, it's interesting how the focus is on like all of these other things, when in reality, just, I don't know.
It's actually like pretty damn good. 12 miles a gallon. I mean, that's a really big improvement though.
Right. But the current Freightliners get 8.
Well, I know.
Yeah, but over time,
4 miles a gallon. Come on. That's a lot.
Isn't that like a 33%?
A 50% improvement. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So they were saying it was a 5.7% improvement over the SuperTruck 1, whatever they released maybe a few years ago. I don't know exactly what that thing looks like. But to talk about the tires, though,
my pickup truck only gets 15, right? And it doesn't weigh 80,000 pounds. I mean.
Yeah, I know, but who's going to get all of these things? Who's going to get the active arrow that opens up when you're going down the highway? Who's going to get the auto leveling suspension?
For 4 miles a gallon, if I am a carrier that's hauling dry vans or reefers up and down the road, I guarantee you I would for 4 miles. I mean, I don't know what the truck costs. Like, it would have to be insanely expensive for it not to make sense. Like, if it's a $50,000 upgrade, it probably makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Especially if fuel at, $4 or $5 a gallon?
Yeah.
Here. I was in Arizona last week. It was $5 in a lot of places.
Yeah. But about the tires with reducing rolling resistance, like doesn't reducing rolling resistance also then reduce like your stopping capabilities because it's like less traction essentially, right?
Well, not, I mean, yeah, not necessarily, but rolling resistance is like a very small piece of the resistance that you're fighting against.
Yeah, because that's what there was a whole
kind.
video about that, like, oh, we reduced rolling resistance a lot, and I was like, well, doesn't that mean it's just gonna make it like, yeah, 12% reduction of tractor rolling resistance, and specifically they worked with Michelin for the new tires or whatever. I think it's interesting, just because like apparently like I don't see how these things will add up to a significant difference, but it is interesting to see things that are actually practical and could be implemented in the near future, essentially. I think that's really cool.